Okay, we're looking at the second track. The second track has lots of stuff just like the first one does. It's going to be a prevailing theme here, big, big, and bigger. So this one has a bunch of layers, the same thing before. I used tons and tons and tons and tons of things. Um, and it's really kind of a challenge to just get it all to sit right. Um, it's just EQing mostly, just EQing everything to sound as thin as you can without it sounding weird. And then putting everything back in and making sure it sounds okay. So, yeah, like especially the piano. The piano is so cut apart, and it still sounds sort of weird by itself. Um, you can see if I turn the EQ off, you get all this like mid-range kind of that you really don't need. But without it, it sounds weird when it's isolated. But yeah, you really just really have to cut everything up to fit everything together. It's just yeah, it's a lot. Should have thought about this better, but okay. So then I have guitars. Guitars were recorded at the studio with a SM58 and a ribbon mic, fathead thing, and then two takes, panned left and right, a little bit of compression. That's pretty much it. For the drums, I used acoustic drums, but for some reason the snare hit was like all over the place. So like the hits were all over the place. So what I ended up having to do was slice one or two different snare hits and just put them where I wanted them, like one at a time. So here's what that ends up. Sounds real good, just like that. And then I just kept putting stuff on top of it. So clarinets kind of fade in. I have a MIDI track folder above, which is like all the takes I did to do all the different instruments. It looks like I did two clarinet takes, and then I just sent that to two different synthesizers with two different clarinet sounds on each one. The Korg Wave State, the Roland DS, maybe the Akai one, MPC one, maybe I can't remember. Had the same bass, electric bass here. here I got 2 trumpets and 2 horns, French horns, blended in, and it looks like I did the same thing. I did 2 takes of it in MIDI, and then I sent them to 2 different sounds for hardware synths. I try to do more if I have time, but I don't have time. Sounds fine. Two flutes too. As far as music composition, these two are, the clarinets and the flutes are playing off each other. Let's listen to it all together. There's still more. So I did a couple of string bass parts. I can't remember how I recorded this, so let me just go look. Must have just been straight from the hardware synth. Looks like that because I don't see anything else. These are recorded, so. Pretty big. I have strings, but not much. That kind of happens earlier in the tune. But what does happen here is the violin 1 and 2 part mimic the piano part, and that piano part happens in all different instrumentation throughout the song. This thing here, right here. And then I just have the cellos on the bottom double in the bass part. So that's that, and then you have some vocal stuff, and I'll break that down. So it's just a big layer of harmony again. A lot of doubled parts, a lot of stuff panned all over the place, and then a lot of spots where I had to do a lot of editing to edit out the breathing. It's funny because nothing, if I listen to these things isolated, almost none of them are perfectly in tune, but when they're together, they're sort of in tune enough. So here's what that sounds like.
You're out of my reach, but I can't occupy my off to a place no one can find. I'll sit and
So there's like multiple things going on at the same time. I can show you all of them, and it's funny. Like I said, it's not embarrassing or anything. I'm not perfect. Most of the singing is not perfect, and when you isolate it, it's really not perfect. It's like pretty rough sometimes.
You're out of my reach. You're out of my reach.
So the one thing I noticed is every time I say reach, it's like it sounds like a boat taking off or something. So I had to go around and duck all those, edit them down, or just do anything I could to just make them not as loud as they were.
You're out of my reach.
These both these tracks have chorus on them, obviously, and delay and all kinds of. So here's the. It looks like these are the same two, just harmonized.
You're out of my reach. You're out of my reach. You're out of my reach.
And you can hear it's not perfectly in tune. It's a beautiful thing.
You're out of my reach. You're out of my reach. You're out of my reach.
Okay, so you have this element that's going on. Then you have this element that's these first three tracks, which are the chorus with some harmony, which is what happened earlier in the song, but you know.
You're out of my reach, but I can't occupy my mind. Off to a place no one can find.
Okay, so those two things are happening, right? With all this orchestral business that we just outlined, and then there's more. So, you know, it's supposed to kind of be overwhelming. If you're not overwhelmed, then I failed.
You're out of my reach.
Okay, so that's just the same as 1, 2, and this is the same as these. More harmony on the chorus itself.
You're out of my reach, but I can't occupy.
So I'm going to guess that this 5 is harmony on top of the other idea. Let's see.
You're out of my reach.
Yep, it is. So really, it's two distinct ideas in counterpoint with one another, and just going back and forth.
You're out of my reach, but I can't occupy my mind. Off to a place no one can find. I'll sit and close my eyes, take a break from every lie. Off to a place no one can find.
That's the idea. Let's listen to everything.
You're out of my reach, but I can't occupy my mind. Off to a place no one
That sounds pretty good, you know? A lot of stuff going on. A lot to kind of manage, but is the idea. Most of this track builds and builds and builds. I mean, you can just visually see this is everything, right? Minus this blue. There's not, that's all just tracks I'm not using. But everything else, you could just visually see that once you get to this section here, there's like everything is happening. The only thing that's not is strings, violins and violas and cellos, but everything else is just firing. Yeah. Anyways, hope you enjoyed that.